Assalamu alaikum students, how are you? I hope all of you are fine. So today we will be discussing the trigonometric equations which is going to be enrolled in the syllabus of IGCSE 0580 mathematics. So the question is given by sine theta is equals to 0.61. So we know that if sine theta is positive, we must know that sine is positive in the first quadrant or in the second quadrant. Then we must know the angles. We must know the quadrants, we must know the quadrants. So basically, in the first quadrant, the angle should be alpha. In the second quadrant, it should be 180 minus alpha. Okay. So let me take out the value. It should be theta equals to sine inverse of 0.61, and the next angle should be 180 degree minus sine inverse of 0.61. Now you should only be needing the calculator. So sine inverse 0.61 is basically 37.6 degree, and 180 minus that answer becomes 142.4 degree. So moving on to the next question, cos theta is given by 0.12. We can clearly see that the value of cos is given positive. So we know that cos is positive in the first or in the fourth quadrant, right? So the angles of the first and fourth quadrant are alpha and 360 minus alpha. So we should be calculating theta is equals to cos inverse of 0.12, and the second angle should be 360 minus cos inverse of 0.12. So now using the calculator, it becomes 83.1 degrees, and 360 minus answer is 276.9 degrees. Moving on to the next question, tan theta is given, and if it is positive, we should know that tan is positive in the first quadrant or in the third quadrant. So the angles for the first quadrant and the third quadrant are alpha and 180 plus alpha. So theta should be equals to tangent inverse of 2.1, and the second angle should be 180 plus tangent inverse of 2.1. So using the calculator, tan inverse 2.1 is basically 64.5. And the next angle should be 180 plus. So it becomes 244.5. Okay. So let's assume now for the negative values. So let's say we have sine theta equals to negative 0.43. So sine is negative. Sine is negative in the third quadrant and the fourth quadrant. And we know the angles of the third quadrant and the fourth quadrant. So we should be using theta is equals to 180 plus sine inverse 0.43, and the second answer should be 360 minus sine inverse of 0.43. So I am getting 180 plus sine inverse 0.43. So this is 205.5, and the next answer is 360 minus sine inverse 0.43. So it gives me 334.5. Moving on to the next question. Now cos is given negative. So we should know that cos is negative in the second or third quadrant. So we will be using the angles for second quadrant and third quadrant. So second quadrant angle is 180 minus alpha and the third quadrant angle is 180 plus alpha. So using the calculator, this becomes 180 minus cos inverse of 0.9 and the second answer is 180 plus cos inverse of 0.9. So I will be using 180 minus cos inverse of 0.9, that is 154.2. Angle should be one decimal place. Now 180 plus cos inverse 0.9, so that is 205.8. I hope all are clear till now. Now for the last question, tan is given negative. So if tan is given negative, so we know that tan is negative in the second or fourth quadrant. So the angle for the second quadrant is 180 minus alpha and for the fourth quadrant it is 360 minus alpha. Now I will be using the calculator. So it becomes 180 minus tan inverse of 0.52 and the next one should be 360 degree minus tan inverse of 0.52. So the final answers are 180 minus tan inverse 0.52. This is 152.5 and 360 minus tan inverse 0.52. So it should be 332.5. So that's all dealing with the trigonometric equations. This is the new topic that was added in 2020 syllabus. So you will be looking at these questions in the past papers after 2020. Hoping to see you in the next class. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.